This video has been produced for USS certified personnel to provide complete installation instructions for the Falcon pedestal system. A certification test will be given at the end of this video. You will be required to pass the test to be certified to install the Falcon pedestal system. If you have any questions after watching the video and reviewing the installation manual, contact USS Technical Support at 1-800-488-9097. Before we begin, let's go over some safety guidelines. Only USS certified personnel may install or service the Falcon system. When connecting or disconnecting antennas, make sure the transmitters are switched off or the power to the control unit is off. Do not disconnect the power supply wires and connectors from the control unit unless power has been switched off. Warning: do not open the control unit while it is connected to the main power. There is a risk of electric shock. Warning: do not open the antenna or touch the electronic boards while the control unit is powered on. There is a risk of electric shock. Before arriving to the worksite at the appointed time, make sure you have the tools you'll need to complete the job. You'll find the list of tools located on page 1 of the installation manual. You'll need the following: your laptop computer, a hammer drill, a 3/8-inch hammer drill bit, a 1/4-inch hammer drill bit, a power drill, a drill bit set, a ratchet, a 9/16-inch deep socket, a 6-inch extension for the ratchet, a 9/16-inch wrench, network crimpers, a Husky 5-piece screwdriver set, a magnet and drop chain for fishing cable, and an 8-foot ladder. Additional hand tools you'll need include a Sharpie marker, a hammer, measuring tape, a hacksaw, metal snips, electrical tape, an extension cord, tie wraps, a Phillips screwdriver, wire cutters, wire strippers, a roll of double-sided mounting tape, a bubble level, a box cutter, and a flashlight. Introduce yourself. When you get to the worksite, the first thing you'll need to do is introduce yourself to the point of contact. Let them know who you are, that you are with USS, and review with them what work you are there to complete. You may need the assistance of your point of contact for this step, as you should ensure that you have all the equipment parts for the Falcon system. We'll go over a complete list of parts required for the project later in this video. Once you're ready to work, evaluate the work location and surrounding environment to identify devices or fixtures that could possibly interfere with proper system operation. These could include neon signs, alarm poles, alarm keypads, POS registers or monitors, public view monitors, failing fluorescent ballasts, wheelchair access buttons, automatic doors, or other EAS systems. Once you've identified any of these potential hindrances, proceed to the next step. Using your tape measure, measure the width of the doorway scheduled to receive the Falcon pedestals. Any measurements outside of 70 to 72 inches need to be communicated to the USS Project Management Support at 1-800-488-9097. Before going any further with the Falcon installation, ensure that the following questions and tasks have been identified. Is the area ready for installation? Is the electrical for the Falcon hot, and is it dedicated? Depending on the specifics of the project, is the floor trenched, and is the required conduit installed? Are the doors installed, and do they swing outward? And lastly, take pictures of the area and email them to your USS Project Management Support at pmo@universaleas.com to receive installation approval. These pictures need to include the work area with an additional 6 feet of the surrounding walls on the sides of the doorway and 10 feet above the work area. Be sure to include things like neon signs, alarm poles, or any of the other possibly problematic environmental factors previously discussed. Now that you've located the Falcon and are about ready to begin installation, make sure all parts and equipment are present and accounted for. In your kit, you should find the pedestal panels, the cradle point, the AM control unit and power cord, an ECOM device, a roll of TX1 cable, RX1 cable, Cat5 cable, a mounting bracket, the raceway kit consisting of two 5-foot wire molds, two combination connectors, and two 90-degree corners, an install kit for each pedestal containing 4 anchor bolts, 5 screws and plastic anchors, a Cat5 connector, and concrete screws and anchors, and a cord management kit containing parts found on page 2 of your Falcon installation manual. Once you've ensured that you have a full kit for the installation, you're ready to begin. To install the AM controller unit, first locate where the controller unit will be installed. If the area does not have a drop tile or drywall ceiling, the unit should be installed above and to the side of the door, next to the power source. Using the set of mounting brackets included in the installation kit, install one bracket on the wall with the anchor screws. Attach the second mounting bracket to the bottom of the controller unit by removing 2 feet screws. Hang the control unit onto the wall mounting bracket. Before continuing, it's important that you do not connect power to the receptacle at this point. With the AM controller unit in place, you can proceed to the next step of the Falcon installation. Assemble the cradle point going by the instructions included in the unit's box. Check the storefront area for an acceptable cellular signal with your phone. Mount the cradle point in a good signal location close to the EAS controller unit and power receptacle. Connect the power adapter to the cradle point and then plug it into the power receptacle. You can now turn on the power button, and a green light should appear on the signal LED to let you know it's operating. The port on the ECOM is an RJ45 terminal for LAN connection. The connection is compatible with 10, 100, and 1000 megabit standards. It has a terminal for an AC power supply of 15 volts, 0.7 amps. It has an RS-232 interface in TTL levels, which allows the direct connection of one EAS device with twisted phone cable. Connect the twisted phone cable to the ECOM device. Plug the Cat5 cable provided in your ECOM kit into the RJ45 terminal. Connect the other end of the twisted phone cable to the PC port on the AM controller unit. Then plug the other end of the Cat5 cable into the LAN port on the cradle point. Place a piece of double-sided mounting tape onto the ECOM device and stick the device to the cradle point body. Plug the ECOM's power supply into the power receptacle, then into port 2 on the device. The LED should flash green and orange on port 1. Determine pedestal numbers. Looking from the inside of the store to the outside, the pedestal to the far left will be pedestal number 1. The pedestals are then numbered from left to right. Using a Sharpie marker, mark the assigned pedestal number on the end of each cable. For example, RX1 and TX1 on the cables assigned to pedestal 1, and so forth. Remember, the left pedestal should connect to RX1 and TX1, and the right pedestal should connect to RX2 and TX2. Now, plug one end of each TX cable into the TX1 and TX2 ports, and plug one end of each RX cable into the RX1 and RX2 ports. Note: use your tie wraps and Panduit to bundle your cords for a cleaner installation. This will reduce the chance of broken connections from a pulled wire and allow for quicker equipment servicing in the future. With the AM controller unit, cradle point, and ECOM device in place, you can now proceed to the next step of the Falcon installation. Before we go any further, it's time to test the system. Refer to the pedestal placement and connection steps in your manual and confirm you've established the remote connection. Contact technical support at 1-800-488-9097. When you've completed the testing and receive approval from technical support, proceed to the next step. One pair of RX and TX cables will run to the left and right side of the doors. Determine if cable can be run through the door frame or mullion, supplied conduit, finished through the wall, or surface mounted. If you're running through a door frame or mullion that goes above a drop tile ceiling, run the cables down to the ground and drill a hole at the bottom. This will allow the cables to be fished out and run to the pedestals. If the cables need to be surface mounted, clean the surface prior to applying plastic self-adhesive pancake molding or panduit. Keep in mind that when you're running cable to the top of the ceiling, keep the cable out of the way of roll-up gates or any machinery that can get caught. Once the cables have been run to the floor, bundle the cables and set them aside for the pedestal installation. Stand the pedestals on the floor with the covers removed. The pedestals should be positioned with their speakers facing each other. To find the speakers, look for the holes in the covers. The pedestals should be spaced 72 inches apart, centered off the door. Space the pedestals so their centers are 24 inches away from the door frame or gate. Once the pedestal placement has been established, remeasure the distances to ensure accuracy. Using a Sharpie marker, mark the floor through the pedestal base holes. Before drilling the holes, remove the pedestals. Using a hammer drill with a 3/8 inch bit, drill 2 holes diagonally across from each other for each base, as shown in the installation manual. When you've finished drilling the holes, sweep or vacuum the dust you've created. Hammer in the installation bolts provided in your installation kit. Make sure there is enough bolt exposed for the nut to grip and secure the pedestal. Approximately 1 inch should suffice. Caution: if the concrete around your drilled holes breaks or is unsecured, you will need to mark and drill additional holes through the remaining holes in the pedestal. Use the remaining screws and nuts from the install kit. Place the pedestals over the anchor bolts as shown in your installation manual. With a deep socket and a ratchet, hand tighten the nuts, taking care not to over-tighten or damage the pedestal's electrical board. Use the combination connectors to route the cable from the door frame or mullion, conduit, or pancake mold to the wire mold track. Measure the wire mold to the appropriate length to cover the area between the combination connector and the pedestal base. Ensure you have added 1/4 inch to your length at the opposite. Use a hacksaw or metal snips to cut the wire molding to the correct size. Connect the wire mold base to the combination connector as shown in your installation manual. Place the mold base between the pedestal and the door frame at the opening where the cables exit. Use a Sharpie marker to mark the floor through the holes and the wire mold. Drill the holes using a hammer drill with a 1/4 inch bit and clean the dust. Hammer your screw anchors into the holes. Then lay the wire mold and screw it down as shown in your manual. Pull the TX and RX cables to the pedestal base. Route them under the base and through the route lines on the base. The cables will go either through the front, back, or side of the pedestals, depending from which direction the cable is coming. Lay the cables in the wire mold, ensuring that none will be pinched or cut when the top piece of wire mold is installed. Note: do not install the raceway cover at this point. You'll do this after the system has been powered up. Once the cables are inside the pedestals, cut the cables and leave 2 feet of slack per pedestal. Using your Sharpie marker, remark the newly cut ends of the cable with their assigned pedestal numbers. Once again, the left pedestal should connect to RX1 and TX1, and the right pedestal should connect to RX2 and TX2. Before installing covers on the wire mold and combination connectors, make sure the cables will not be pinched or cut when connecting the covers. Refer to your manual to make new cable connections. Follow the color codes shown in your manual to ensure you are connecting it in the correct order. Plug the green connector on the TX cable into the port labeled TX unit on the transmitter board as shown in your manual. Plug the RJ45 connector to the port marked 2RX unit on the receiver board. Note, the connections for the light, sound, and volume should all be in place prior to installation. Check all connections on the pedestals to ensure they are properly seated in the correct ports. After all connections are confirmed as operational and the cradle point and ECOM devices are powered up, plug the controller unit into the power receptacle. The unit's green light should come on. Both pedestals should light up to acknowledge proper connection, and the system should not be alarming. If it is, there is probably a sensor in the field or interference in the system. Either way, the system needs to be tested and tuned properly with the right software. Contact USS Tech Support to establish remote connection to the system and follow the instructions for testing. When testing is complete, screw the base covers back onto the pedestal. The installation may look complete, but the job isn't done yet. Make sure you clean the work area, disposing of extra materials, unless they are to be carried over to another installation. Clean the pedestals with Windex and paper towels. Mark the breaker in the panel EAS. Take multiple pictures of the installation area. Make sure you get the pedestal. Shoot it from inside the store, standing far enough back to capture both pedestals, and take multiple pictures of each pedestal, close enough to capture the base covers. Also, be sure to take pictures of the controller unit, the ECOM device, and the cradle point. When you've captured all of your images, have the point of contact verify the work completed. Most importantly, train the point of contact how to properly operate the Falcon system. Show them where to turn off the power on the controller unit and on the breaker panel as well. Provide a reference guide to the point of contact. And finally, fill out the work order documentation and have the customer sign off, indicating that the work has been completed. Congratulations! You have just finished a Falcon pedestal system installation. We hope that this video has been instrumental in completing the task. But if at any time you have questions or concerns, stop what you're doing and contact USS Technical Support at 1-800-488-9097. Thank you for watching this video. Your test will now begin.